Look at how slow this thing is going, yo. Even the pumps in Oklahoma are like, dang, it's cold out here. It's 24 degrees here in Oklahoma City, but it feels like 8.
What's up, long-haired little guy?
Hey YouTube, this is Matt the Long-Haired Little Guy, and I thank you for tuning in and watching me. I appreciate all the new subscribers, all of the thumbs up. I appreciate that. You know what? I didn't get any thumbs down. I asked for either one. I got no dislikes. They're all likes, so good. Thank you guys. I appreciate it so much, and welcome to those of you who are just joining my channel. I have to confess something to you guys. I'm a little bit addicted to you guys, all right? I can't help it. I've had a big spike in my YouTube channel, a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new views, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And I'm really anxious to continue interaction with you guys and hear more about your businesses. But the reality is, I watch all the time. I really, really do. It consumes a lot of my time, a lot of my energy, and it's because I love interacting with you guys in comments. I don't believe I've left anybody out on any comments, and it's really important to me. But you know what happens? I'll be at my job, and I want to check to see what you guys are saying. So I go check. 10 minutes goes by because I replied. And then I look again. And then I look again. And then while I'm there, I'm on Facebook, right? I'm doing all these different things. Now, as of recent years, it's become very popular for people to leave Facebook and they're like, I'm done, I'm finished. That is not what I'm doing. But what I do need to do is I need to make sure that I'm rationing my time. So I'm usually very good about responding, and I want to let you guys know that I want to continue to interact with you guys, but I really need to do like a little fast of YouTube. So I think I'm going to designate a certain amount of time in the week, and I'm going to strategically place that time so that I can sit down, give you guys some attention, but yet I can still keep my focus on the things that I need to stay focused on, which is what? My faith. I want to make sure that I'm preparing myself properly for the people I'm investing in. And then 2 is my family. I want to make sure that I'm not distracted, that when my kids want my time and they want to play with me, that I'm available mentally, physically, and in every way that I can be there for them and be a good dad for them. And then lawn care, right? You guys are kind of in my lawn care sphere of influence, okay? So I'm just going to let you guys know that I might be a little bit slower to respond to your questions or maybe to your comments, but I want you to know that I'm going to cut out time just especially for you guys, and I'm going to be looking forward to it more than ever to be opening up that app and checking you guys out and seeing what you guys are saying. So I appreciate you guys. As I said in the beginning, thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you to those of you who did hit that like button. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. On my last video, I got a question about where I'm at with my applicator's license, and I realize I've been pretty bad at putting out content for that. I haven't had a whole lot of progress on that so far. All I've had to do was take the ornamental and turf test, and I have not done that yet, and I've been really lazy on studying that, but I need to get that in. I got 2 more opportunities, and one of them's going to come up on the 30th of this month. I'm going to be testing for that, and then I can go forward. And if I don't pass that test, then I'll have another opportunity in February, and hopefully between those 2 times, I'll be able to acquire my license and then be just in time for the spraying season in the early spring. So I appreciate Jay-Z asking me about that. The other thing that you probably want to get updated on, if you had any interest at all in, I didn't get a whole lot of views on my fencing project, and honestly I can't blame it. It's relatively boring material, but I don't have the end of that project, although I did finish it. And the reason for that is because I got a new phone, and when I got a new phone I thought I had everything transferred over, and it didn't. So I lost a whole bunch of footage on that, so I apologize for that. And well, maybe one day I'll be able to get a picture for that, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, okay? So this week what I'm going to do for the topic, it's going to be an acronym because, like I said, this is the time where everybody is planning for 2019. What kind of equipment should we have? Should I be an LLC? Should I be a sole proprietor? Should I get insurance? What kind of insurance should I get? Do I need a truck? All these different questions that we have going on, right? And for those of us that have been in the industry for a few years, we go through those same questions every single year, and I have a method for it. So what's the method? It's a simple acronym called KISS. Have y'all heard of it? Keep it simple, Stupid. How can I explain the KISS method? Well, have you ever heard the analogy, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you don't eat the elephant all in one bite, right? It's just too big for you to chew on. So you eat an elephant one bite at a time. You take small pieces until the entire elephant is eaten. Many times that's the way it is when we look to start a new business, or if we were to start a new portion of our business for, say, weed control. That's what I'm doing in 2019. It was overwhelming at first, but as I take little bites here and there, I'm able to actually comprehend just how simple it could actually be. So what I want to do is I want to share 4 points with you of how you can keep it simple. Point number 1 would be this: don't overthink the obvious. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I've ever seen someone who's starting a new business or somebody who wants to add another piece to their business is they tend to overthink the obvious. Okay? Many times this is very much like when you're looking for a specific object and you look everywhere, right? You just cannot find it for whatever reason. Then somebody says, look, it's right there. And you're like, I looked there. How come I didn't see it? Well, I think it's because we're looking at the picture too big. We're overlooking the obvious. We're overlooking what's sitting right in front of us. Another thing to think about when you think about overlooking the obvious is people tend to over-plan. Okay? They over-plan. What do I mean by that? They overthink everything. And one of the hindrances to that is sometimes we tend to be very, very slow at getting things started. We tend to be very, very slow, or even if at all, we never even do get started. And that's not the goal at all. We want to be able to put our plans into action at one point, which means the planning phase has to stop and the work phase has to begin. My tip number 2 for keeping it simple is don't take debt that you don't have to take. Why do I say that? Because this kind of addresses the finances directly, doesn't it? Well, when you consider society today, money really plays a huge part in it. As a matter of fact, many marriages can be ended just on the financial stresses, on debt that the household takes on. It creates a stress and it affects the interpersonal. In the very same way, debt can actually affect our business in a negative way and can actually kill it. Tip number 3, account for only the information that is either required or absolutely critical to your operation. So what are those things that you need to be accounting for? Well, in lawn care, if you're just simply mowing, there's very few things that you really need to account for. One of them is your expenses. The second thing is your income. The third thing is your jobs. And the fourth thing is your customer information. It's actually very, very simple. If you keep those 4 things just as a mowing operation, you will have everything that you need to file your taxes and everything you need to keep your information straight so you can keep track of your jobs and be organized. Now, every operation is different. There are different dynamics, especially if you add other things into mowing. There's going to be other things that you're going to either want to track because it's critical to your operation, or legally you will have to track. So this is not end-all piece of information right here. This is going to be very specific to your business, and you're going to have to find out what it is that is either required or is critical for you to operate. But my suggestion is to keep it simple and only track the information that is either required or critical to the operation. Tip number 4 is only do the jobs that you can do right now and grow into the jobs that you want to do. So what do I mean by that? Well, I think one of the temptations is that we want to be a decathlete sometimes. You know what a decathlete is? A decathlete is someone who does I think it's like 10 different track and field sports, right? It might be like the shot put, or it might be like a sprinting or hurdling or the high jump. They do all of that, right? Well, when we're starting out, and sometimes even after a few years of business, what we want to do is we want to keep on, we want to do everything, right? Because we just don't want to say no. We don't want to say no. So we say, yeah, sure, I can do that. Yeah, sure, I can do that. And we don't really understand everything that goes into it, or we may not possess the skill set. So that can do a couple different things. One of the things that it can do is it can actually create some stress on our mind because, wow, we got to learn something new, right? The other thing it can create stress on is, hey, maybe it's going to spread us too thin through the week. Maybe we just don't have the time or the skill set, okay? So especially in the very beginning, don't try to be a decathlete in the lawn industry, but rather just do what you can do and then grow slowly into the jobs that you want to do. And trust me, if you do it right, you'll be able to do everything that you want to do in your business. So there's my 4 tips on how you can keep it simple. I hope it helps you. And don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. And remember, I'm Matt the Lawn Care Little Guy, and that's what's up. Psalm 77, verse 19. Your way was through the sea, your path through the great waters, yet your footprints were unseen. I just read that today, and immediately I thought about how that contrasts with the work of God, yet he's physically unseen. And I always kind of like to give a little bit of background, a little bit of context to things, and this is in Psalms, right? But it's talking about when Moses and the Israelites crossed the river to escape the Egyptians. And it talks about how that was the way of the Lord, yet his footprints were unseen. So God was working in the physical, yet remained spiritual. And I think about that in all of our life and how we go through day after day, and God is at work. God is doing something. He's doing something through his people, but his footprints are unseen. Sometimes people ask, it's like, well, how do you know, that what you believe is actually true? Because I'll believe things when I see it. But that's not what the Christian faith is about. And honestly, that's not what faith in general is about. Because faith is not in what we see, necessarily. Like, if we have to see it, then it doesn't require faith. If it has to be materialized physically, then it doesn't require faith. But we walk through faith as Christians. But how many times, even as Christians, do we go from day to day, and God is at work in everything, and he's working for our good, but his footprints are unseen? So my application to that is, I really want to recognize the reality of God. I want to recognize that though I don't see his footprints, that I can still recognize his work and bring him glory. I pray that my life would be an acknowledgement of the one and only God, and that there would be an outflow of my life through that knowledge and knowing that he is real, that he is active, he is working, and it's all out of his love and for our good and for his glory. His glory being first. And try to distract my mind from, though I can't prove things physically, though I don't see his physical footsteps, the knowledge of God and his spirit living within me testifies to my spirit that I am a child of God and that he is actively working. So sometimes these tag times, I know that they're really raw thoughts, so I'm always interested to hear what you guys have to say about that. But I hope it encourages you. I hope that if you're struggling with the reality of God, that you can understand that he's real. Though you don't see him, he's working. Look to his people. We're not perfect. We don't do everything right. Sometimes we're downright disobedient. But God is doing a work, and he does it through his people, just like he did through Moses to deliver the Israelites out of the hands of the Egyptians. He is delivering us daily. And he's at work, though his footprints are unseen. So anyways, that's my tag time. And I'll end this the way I end every tag time. Pray for me. I'll pray for you.